Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Muir, for your contribution. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. I rise to speak on this subject, and I just point out that Senator Lyons said that 62% of all the Irish population voted for the same-sex marriage referendum. Mr Acting Deputy President, just 33% of the voting public of Ireland rolled up for that vote. A bit over 3 out of 10. They have optional voting. I know these statistics. I just want to correct that record from Senator Lyons. But this is where I stand on this issue. This issue we deal with, that the Parliament will deal with in good time. Mr Acting Deputy President, in my travels around the state, the issue of same-sex marriage has rarely been raised with me. In fact, I've never had anyone come into my office in Inverell to raise their point of view one way or another. Of course, the Greens, Senator Cameron interjecting there, Mr Acting Deputy President, reminds me that I heard the other day that Senator Cameron's actually writing nursery rhymes these days for the children. They start off, once upon a time and a half, is how he starts his nursery rhymes. We won't go there. Of course, the Greens and our allies get their supporters to bombard parliamentarians' email accounts, and we get plenty of emails from both sides. But out in the regions from Tweed Heads to Maitland and out to Broken Hill, their main concerns are jobs, maintaining services and getting a good drop of rain. And thankfully, talking to a friend at Wilcannia this morning, just had 3 inches of lovely rain out there, best rain for a long time. I want to go to Tamworth tomorrow night and back home to Inverell on Saturday. I doubt, Mr Acting Deputy President, if one person will come up to me and want to talk about same-sex marriage. They will want to talk about the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, which was signed yesterday and is the result of excellent work by the Minister for Trade, Andrew Robb, and the Minister for Agriculture, Mr Barnaby Joyce. A great deal for rural Australia, especially for the beef industry, the dairy industry, the lamb industry, the wine industry and many others. This agreement is significant for every person in Australia because it makes our farmers competitive in our biggest export market. We get a competitive edge back that New Zealand has had, competitive edge against the EU, Canada and the USA. The Greens claim they are friends of the farmers, so why do they shut down the live cattle trade? It's quite amazing. Why do they oppose my recent motion in this place congratulating the New South Wales Government on its commitment to address the ridiculously native vegetation laws which have stifled food security? And instead of same-sex marriage, the business people of Tamworth and Inverell will be telling me what a magnificent small business package this Parliament has just passed. Mr Acting Deputy President, I am disturbed by some of the things that are going on about this whole debate. I take offence to when some people, if you actually support the retention of the definition of marriage, in some way you're homophobic. I looked up the definition of homophobic, and it says showing an irrational hatred, disapproval or fear of homosexuality, gay and lesbian people or their culture. I do take offence to that accusation of those who do not support same-sex marriage. I have friends who are gay in same-sex relationships. In fact, one that I know that my colleague Senator Nash knows very well as well says he does not support changing the Marriage Act. He does not support it at all. And so there seems to be this branding of us who do not support the changes in the Marriage Act of 1961, this homophobic thing, and I think that is just unfair. It seems that those on the other side of the argument are showing little tolerance for our opinion. There is a word to describe that, but I will not use that word. But I was amazed to have a document dropped off yesterday in my office from His Excellency Archbishop Christopher Prowse. And one of my concerns, Mr Acting Deputy President, is that if a bill does pass both houses here for same-sex marriage, what will it do to those people in the churches, the priests in the Catholic Church, the ministers in the Anglican Church and other denominations, if they refuse to marry same-sex couples on their religious beliefs and their strong religious beliefs of that? Will they be sued for discrimination? That is one concern I really have. The state should never intervene with the church as far as the rules of the church go. When people in the church do the wrong thing, of course the state must intervene. But in this booklet I was reading, and I'll give you some examples. In Colorado and Oregon, courts have fined bakers who refused on religious or conscientious grounds to bake wedding cakes for same-sex weddings. In New Mexico, a wedding photographer was fined for refusing to do photography for such a ceremony, probably for religious beliefs. And in Illinois, accommodation providers have been sued for not providing honeymoon packages after same-sex weddings. What's going to be the ramifications of court actions if this is to proceed? I'll go on, Mr. Acting Deputy President. In New Jersey, an online dating service was sued for failing to provide services to same-sex couples, and a doctor in San Diego County was prosecuted after refusing personally to participate in the reproduction of a fatherless child through artificial insemination. The courts are really getting busy, aren't they? I'll go on. British MPs have threatened to stop churches holding weddings if they do not agree to conduct same-sex marriages. I mean, this is quite scary. Let me turn to this page here. The Deputy Chief Psychiatrist of the state of Victoria was pressured to resign his position on the Victorian Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission after joining 150 doctors who told a Senate inquiry that children do better with a mum and a dad. In several US states and in England, psychologists have also lost positions for stating that they favour traditional marriage or families based thereon. Businessmen, athletes, commentators, teachers, doctors and nurses, religious leaders and others in several countries who have spoken in support of traditional marriage have been vilified in the media, denied employment or business contracts and threatened with prosecution. What is going on here? We have the institution of marriage been around for thousands of years. In the Catholic Church, Jewish religion, Buddhist religion, Islamic faith, you name it. And those who wish to keep the status quo, in many respects, are being vilified. Just some of those examples I read out to you, Mr. Acting Deputy President. I support traditional marriage between a man and a woman. I will always support that. I will always believe that the best place to rear children, the best environment, is with a father and a mother, as that Senate inquiry those witnesses gave I just quoted. So I will not be changing my position. I have friends who are gay, and I respect what we've done in this country as far as equal rights and centre-aligned status, some of those in the States. If you're a politician in a same-sex relationship, I believe your partner should have the same rights and entitlements in this place as my wife. I believe if you're going to have separations, split-ups and de facto relationships, superannuation, assets divided should be done equally between same-sex as they do for the more traditional marriage of man and woman, for the traditional marriage I should say. I believe people in same-sex relationships should be treated equally. I'm not homophobic. As I said, I have friends who are gay. I actually sat at a dinner last Saturday night with two gay men at a table with me, and we talked for a long time. But I do believe the tradition of marriage should be retained as between a man and a woman. And I know in some countries they are vehemently protesting about changes. Some of the Islamic countries do not have tolerance for same-sex couples. I remember recently, or some time back now, I was talking to a member of DFAT here in Australia from Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Mr. Acting Deputy President, who had spent some time in Turkey. And in our discussions I said to this person, what's the situation with same-sex people in Turkey? And the reply was, officially, there are none. That's the belief of their country. That's for them to believe that. I don't wish to comment on that. But what I'm saying is that many Asian countries and Islamic countries, etc., they support traditional marriage, of course. I believe that's the way it should be retained. And I repeat that if this legislation is to pass at some stage in the future, what are we going to do to protect those people representing their religions, the priests, the ministers, etc.? If they refuse to marry a same-sex couple under their beliefs of their religion and law of their church, are they going to be sued for discrimination? These are the things that will come up if this legislation does sometime pass. But I repeat what I say, I support the traditional marriage of man and woman. That's what I believe in, that's where I stand. Mr Acting Deputy President, I will never change.